Dear President Levits, dear friend, first of all, a personal statement I witnessed throughout these years at the Reolas Group, and the next meeting will be in Oporto, in Portugal, in the north of Portugal, in the beginning of October. The way you represented and represent the Latvian people, the Latvian state, with a very clever, very wise, courageous, but at the same time a very rational presence that was very good for the group, very good for the members of the group, and very important for Portugal and our bilateral relations and our common goals in Europe, in the European Union, in NATO, and in the world. Thank you. So this is a personal reason to be very happy to welcome you here in Portugal. But then there is another reason, which is your country, courageous country, and courageous people. And today we had the opportunity of exchanging points of views. First of all, the two of us and with the delegations. And I think I can say that some obvious common points exist in our vision of Europe and of the world. First, we have stated once again emphatically our condemnation of Russian brutal invasion of Ukraine, and also of the war crimes and violations of international law and the UN Charter, in particular since February 2022, thus sacrificing the courageous Ukrainian people. Second, we confirmed, and we share this point of view, our full support, if needed, further strengthen diplomatic, political, humanitarian, military and financial to Ukraine. Third, we also shared our points of views about how important the next few months will be as a decisive period in the war, and especially in Ukrainians' response, counter-offense and recovery of its territorial integrity, which is a precondition for the effectiveness of Ukrainian national sovereignty, and more than that, for European integration. Not only thinking of Ukraine and Moldova, but also of the Western Balkans that must be prepared to be a real success. Then, of course, we are committed to the European Union and NATO. We do know how important will be the Vilnius summit next July. And we want to stress, and Portugal wants to stress especially, but I think it's your point of view also, how happy we were with Finland's membership in NATO, and how deeply we hope that Sweden will join the soonest the better. Then, of course, we in Portugal, we know the specific situation of the Baltic countries. It's the case of Latvia and your neighbors. And your need for continuous political and military consistent capacity of response with the effective involvement of the allies. We have been, concerning the Baltic countries, permanently throughout the last few years involved in air policing. And that is very important for you, but very important for us. We assume that Portugal is having a role and will keep on having this role involving other continents in the awareness of this global war. It's not just an European war. It's not a local war. It's not a regional war. It's a global war. Too often, countries in these different continents, being far away from what they consider a European conflict, don't understand how important it is to have this global vision of the world. And I'm speaking of African countries, near Middle East countries, and other countries, but specifically these neighboring areas where Russian interventions are trying to weaken the southern and southeastern flanks of both the European Union and NATO. And then, of course, we spoke of our bilateral relations. We're having tomorrow a forum, economic forum. We will be signing a joint memorandum of understanding for deeper cooperation on economy, finance, but also thinking of science, technology, energy, digital, and so many other important issues. And last word to tell you that you can count on Portugal, on our armed forces, with the same competent, devoted and efficient way in which they have proudly accomplished more than once their mission in the last few years. Dear friend, feel at home in Lisbon. You know Lisbon, and you know Portugal. This is also your home, a country of rule of law, of freedom, of liberty, of democracy, of human rights, of European values, of peace and affability. Long live Latvia, long live Portugal, long live our unconditional friendship as states and as people.